It's your boy Simon Says, and I'm here in the Cryptoverse DAO with a lot of real ones in here. If we wanted to look over just pure price action, right? We're going over the charts. We're still, I still had a short bias in yesterday's video. We actually, this is a beautiful test. I'm sorry. Let me keep my train of thought. This is, a big time for Bitcoin. Let's just say that. We're still monitoring this double top off the 60 on the daily. We've had almost 7 days of consecutive downside. Now, these days haven't really been with much volume. So usually when this happens, right, when something doesn't have too much volume at first, if it actually does end up breaking enough supports, it will actually run up with more volume. So we'll see bigger moves, to the downside, kind of like this, came up, was breaking slowly down until it broke a main support, and then it was flooded, right? If we look at this period right here on Bitcoin, we see how, Bitcoin had a horizontal resistance coming around here, and that's literally where we're keeping the support right now, right? If we look back at, let's look at this 38K capitulation. We start going sideways in a bigger range. It was more vast, but the percentages may be kind of similar, a little bit bigger. So this is a 28% range. And notice how once we broke these three tops that were, its channel resistance, you can see how we kept returning to the bottom side of the supports until we were able to break out. Notice how we just came up to another high or another, key resistance area. This time it was, fighting this capitulation wick. So we fought back into here, even got some of these lows, but we couldn't clear this top. No candle highs above this top. And then, slow kind of drop until, this was a slow back to a pretty rapid drop back to the supports of this channel. And then we just, got another upside test and then continued downward. And notice how we're dropping kind of slow right here until the big drop comes, right? They don't want anybody to catch those moves. So if we're looking back at, recent price action, we see the RSI on the daily is nearing the 50. The 50 is an area of, you can hold support. We also see it testing this 21-day moving average. So the last 21 candles is taking the moving average, the price of all of them. And this is what the price of the last 21 days is. So it's right on that, support as of right now. And now we get to, go in and dissect this chart. 4 hour testing the 40 RSI. That's off go. 38 minutes left in this candle. This 40 RSI is going to have to put in some work. Remember, the RSI doesn't lock in the position until the candle closes. That's why candle closes are so important as well. If we're looking at it right now, the price action is below all of these lows on the RSI, so it is correlating. We just have to break this 40 RSI support for the bears, and we'll be hitting, those targets that we set on our YouTube. If we wanted to, let's open up our crypto YouTube real quick.
In the case of hacks like the first
Cryptoverse DAO, bro. And if you guys don't know, the metaverse is going to be the biggest play for alts. So that hype is going to come back. And that's why, we are the Cryptoverse. Let's see if we have, let's get our last. So Bitcoin, where are the bulls at, right? This is, 2 days ago. And this was our bearish outlook. If you wanted the bullish outlook, this is it right here. You have to go through to find the levels. I might comment that later. But so 22.6, right? That's our first level that we were eyeing. And if you look at the price right now, 22.6. This is our first take profit or our first support. Now, granted, we were taking shorts from up here, but you see how if you don't protect your profits, one quick 15-minute, this isn't a 4-hour candle. It just came at the end of a 4-hour candle. So it closed out, looks like it's strong, and then, a 4-hour rejection. So 22.6, that's where we're currently at. Is that going to hold as support or resistance? We have this wick that is our pretty much our trap door. We could even say this could be like a, I wouldn't say a descending triangle. I'd say this looks like more of a wedge, right? But if you wanted the descending triangle outlook, that would mean us testing 24K again. If we were to have a bounce, and then we could, test this descending trend line support one more time. Let's add some lines in here. So why did we have that big, oh my gosh, bro, it's textbook. Go back to other videos. What happens when we broke this ascending trend line support, we'd have an induce of volatility to the downside, just because this liquidity area couldn't hold any more orders, right? It couldn't hold any more orders. And what happens when you slip it, you come, retest these supports, make sure if these guys had longs, they're not going to catch the long now, right? So this is literally not to our mitigation of this big candle, but our first support zone. Very interesting. This is probably a fib level I put on here. If you wanted to run through the fib real quick of this kind of bullish trend, not even a fib, just straight gas lines. You feel me? Finding high confluence supports and resistance. So this is the 4-hour test. We have a 30-minute candle coming in. So as we're getting down to the lower time frames, we're watching the 4-hour. The low time frames are going to bounce, especially with the volatility, right? So the higher time frames are better to get a better understanding of what's really going on. You could literally see that now I see why I made this. We see this wick right here, support, and then if you drag that across, you're hitting this one as well. About that one, you're hitting this line, and you're hitting this line. So let's go ahead and drag that across. So you want 3 confluence points. And this one's on the 4-hour, so it has more strength. The higher the time frame is, the stronger the chart patterns or the markups are, right? So the bears are fighting to keep this zone as now resistance, and this is on the 4-hour. Now that we've had a look, we'll go down. 3-hour, look at how you barely close outside the zone. How we got this wick to come up and test this area as a resistance, and how we came and cleared this bottom side liquidity. So we could go sideways here, right? We could go sideways. Not even going to extend it yet. Let's just leave it. End of the zone, time to drop. No more zone. But we'll go the 3-hour on the RSI. Let's clean up this RSI. Now all these random marks, they would have, on the lower time frames, they actually, are like, you could see them differently on the time frames, because the RSI, it changes as you go down the time frame. So as we go down to we see this like kind of butterfly doji coming in. Still an hour 33 left, so a lot of time in it. Let's see, 2-hour closes coming in as well with the 4-hour. 2 hours always coming on the 4-hour because even numbers. So here on the 2-hour, you kind of see like this double bottom that initially kind of like took us off right here. Well, not even right there. From here to here, we came down, and then it was a support test and getting back above the 40. Look at how the hourly held the 40 RSI for this pump up. We kind of held the ascending trend line support. If we delete this one now, we kind of see like the symmetrical triangle that it's playing in. So we had like this bullish divergence. The first one double bottomed on the 30, right above oversold, and that's what gave it its strength, right? We hit the 50 RSI and came back to the 40, and then we were able to take off until it double top on the 60. So you can see how the hourly RSI is like, it's strong, but it also moves very, very quickly and fast. It can reset very fast. But we still have room. We still have room to drop on this hourly, or this is 2 hour. Ooh, 1 hour, little double bottom coming in. You can see how we still haven't broken these lows on the divergences. So it's saying that these price action closes here are still, the RSI still isn't lower than like this last drop, but the price action is. But at the same time, when the RSI or the price is actually moving or trending, it's hard to get that reversal. You have to make sure you have your confluences, make sure you have, a structure where the price action is within. Like all this structure is old now. The structure is pretty old, but one of the keys we kept coming back to was like this ascending triangle. We broke out. This is the first one. I didn't have this line, right? And none of this was here. So we broke out. It was green light ahead until, we hit the double top. We couldn't go back into oversold and we fell through. What did we do first? We retested the ascending trend line support, made a lower high, lower low, lower high. Notice how we came back in and double topped again, right? So we made a lower high to here, lower high to here, here, and here. Couldn't break the ascending trend line, came right back to support. When we got to support, look at the RSI, right? This is still a very important line on the RSI. Like we haven't broken this line in this whole bullish trend. If we break this RSI line, same thing as when the price action breaks, we could, come into the RSI with volume. All right, so back down to lower time frames. We've seen that 1 hour come in. Notice how we just got a new 30-minute candle. So this is only halfway through the hour. We came up here, tested, the last open, right? These two last opens right here. We got close, we didn't do it. So what we really did is we tested this as a resistance, this downside wick, and the candle close. 30-minute, 45. Look at how the 4-hour RSI relates to, this on the 45-minute, right? On the 45-minute, this line is like make or break right now. So that just shows you how like the higher time frames can make the RSI look a lot different. What I do notice is the 45-minute is under the 40. If the bears want to hold this, I wouldn't mind a slight little pump or tracement to retest this orange line or, this zone again. Mitigate this bearish candle. This would be about a 0.50 retracement from here. On the trend, on the fib from here, it would be about like a 3.82 retracement, which wouldn't be too bad. Here would be like a 618 retracement from this drop. So that would be even, a better golden pocket if we're looking for short entries now that we're back below this next horizontal resistance. But lots of consolidation right now. It's never good to enter on any real amount of volatility, right? When we want to enter is that line, right? Support. These candle closes that was resistance. This is support. We want to enter on a wick that comes up here, test these highs to sell, or we want to, if we're looking for buys, looking from, this ascending trend line support. But we want to be able to at least box in a small horizontal range before we're really entering any trades. Either the volume's coming in right here because you're experienced, or you'd have to play the bigger range, which is this blue zone and like this bottom zone for the buys below this black horizontal. You see it's been working the last 4 times we visited it, but this time it failed. So 30-minute, same thing, doing a wazoo. If we're looking at price action from here, we could connect these points to this wick. Not much support, but if you know what, even things look like, you probably see something like that. And then we could also say we have a little bit of a horizontal support right here, resistance right here. So boom, that would be this is our next target area. If you're long, you're trying to buy from here, buy above this line. But that's just for, degenerate stuff. I'd really look for higher time frame patterns. But it's your move. If you think more volume will come in, we're midweek or week's almost over. Think about your long term outlooks. We'll go down to 15-minute. 15-minute doji just came in, right? This is a new 15-minute candle, so this is just a downside test. We could just wick right now and regain support. What I see is small 15-minute divergence, 4 candles of symmetry right here almost, or 3.5 for the doji. Price action was just trying to get above it. It wicked above it to the zone, and it couldn't close above any of these highs. Yeah, we need to go down. No divergence there, but resistance at the 50 RSI. Back to the 40. The lower the time frame, the weaker the divergence, the weaker the structure, everything. So let's see how this divergence plays. Okay, let's go to a different chart and let's try to find some structure. Before I do that, we're going to do a quick 4D analysis. This is just, the parts that affect Bitcoin and crypto altogether. So ETH to Bitcoin, ETH did a 2x over this rally. Bitcoin did probably 30%. We're still in this channel. Notice how when we were in this channel before, we came down with 2 days of intense volume, descending channel that couldn't break up, another intense volume. So this is what I'm talking about. When we have enough consolidation, the moves become more, they're impulse waves. They have a direction and an end point. So we can't be caught out on the other side of that, right? That's why, we keep our stops tight. We keep our profits in check, and we don't give back to the market. ETH as well was just coming off, this is a $1,600 psychological support resistance test. You see how we're holding below 1,600 here, wicking. Now we're, boom, we hit 1,600, we bounced. Didn't quite get the 1,600, another $1,600,000 test. All right, but back to ETH to Bitcoin. So, ETH to Bitcoin, it could have these crazy staggering moves up. You see the volume that comes in when it wants to go up, ETH to Bitcoin. It's really amazing. But we're literally this high from ETH to Bitcoin is up here. This was the high, right? This is when, if we look at the date, let's just make sure April 22nd. So 1 year ago, time flies. Okay, no, this is May. 22nd April. August. Okay, hold on, I'm sorry. April 22nd, April 2022. So yeah, boom, this is the high. Am I reading this right? It's gotta be. Okay, it's gotta be. So you see, like when ETH was at around 3,200, this is where the ETH to Bitcoin price was. When Bitcoin was initially dumping, ETH was actually holding up quite well until it got so oversold that it had, a huge correction. That correction actually ended up breaking the long-term descending triangle. We retested it, same thing except opposite, right? We retested the descending triangle, and then we used that as support, and we flew. That's it. We came straight back up to our descending triangle resistance zone, I'd call it. Like we have another. There's obviously like room this could run like up here, right? We have like more support or like resistance areas up here, but it's really like it's up to Bitcoin. If Bitcoin can't lead this pump, I don't see ETH, continuing. So that's ETH to Bitcoin. I feel is on this daily RSI, it has room to come back a lot. As you see, like this RSI and this RSI, when the price action was still above this point, but hell of a run by the alts. It takes less money to pump the alts, so that's why all the pumps are really not going into Bitcoin as much. They're going into these coins. They could still move 2-3x. The next thing I want to go over real quick, I know this is a longer stream, but very informative. This is the parts I look at to see just how's the market moving. This is the dollar. When the dollar's on a bull run, it's literally equities. People are selling their equities, their stocks, their houses for money because the money is valuable. And then the reverse end, when the dollar is weakening, people will, all right, let me throw my money into Apple because I know I know my dollar will do better over there. I'm not losing money. I'm not getting inflation. I'm actually able to gain some just solid 2%, 3%, 5% a year. When you have enough capital, that's all you need. So the dollar, doji on the daily, retracing very hard. Let's go to the weekly on this. Crazy run. All I'll do, this area on the weekly, if this doesn't hold, okay, the dollar could come down. Those wicks. So I'm looking to see if this last low holds. Anything above this last low, we could continue up. That's pretty much it. Like, that's pretty much it. Like, even though the dollar is dumping right now, it's so high and it's so overvalued that cryptos are still dumping. Like, that's how powerful the dollar is. If we go to the monthly, the last time we're up here is 9/11. George Bush is the president. So we have to see, we're hitting 20-year highs. We're hitting 20-year highs on the dollar. And we've never seen these highs, and crypto is still at 20K, right? So that's a very bullish thing. Very bullish thing for cryptos. It's just a long-term game. It's a waiting game. We on the monthly, we wicked into the zone. Do we want to make one more push up just to, have a nice double top tweezer wick and then come down on the monthly? That would be lovely. Now that we got that out the way, the last thing to look at, the total market cap. And this one is sex. Gosh, this is so sexy. You don't even got to put the support of the wedge because you see the 21 moving average. That's the wedge support pretty much. slow climb down. The RSI looks like kind of like Bitcoin's, right? We hit above the 60 and then a slow turn down. We just have to, the bears really have to come in with some volume. Drops aren't supposed to be a slow climb down. Drops are, you feel me? They're supposed to come in with that volume. They don't want a lot of people to catch them. And that's why you see in the bear markets, you'll have a wick, a strong wick back up and then a strong rejection. So nothing's off the table. If there's, I know Chapo actually asked me what was the coin you asked me, Chapo? Matic? Pretty sure it was Matic. Yep, these alts are in a scary place, bro. Much rather short a shit coin than like Bitcoin in this point because I feel like they have so much more downside just because how much overbought they are. But right now I'm shorting ETH just to be on a semi-conservative tip. Once I close this trade, we'll do some 5% or 10% freaking max leverage. This is Matic. Taylor, this kind of looks like the diamond. KBB drawn. You see, these alts have so much volume. Sometimes they don't respect structure. But, you know, if they get back inside the structure, you can see how it was used as a support still. So we came out of this wedge, came down, retraced to the highs. This descending trend line support is still valid. If we break this support, so this is like, we have like a tighter descending channel or triangle. But nah, I don't really like that one. I would rather we have our descending triangle something like this. So give this a little bit more room to the upside to test these highs and this high maybe one more time with a wick. Have like a zone. This could be like a symmetrical triangle here. But yep, that's about it for today, guys. If there's no questions, I just, recommend you guys come into our Discord, check out what we got going on in here. We got, some big things around the corner. And yeah, tap in. It's your boy Simon Says. Out.